All right, what's up, guys? So this is episode 4 of section 3. Section 3 has been all about the shoulder complex. Go back and watch the previous episodes. We got into bones, joints, muscles, nerves, all that good stuff. But today is going to be about self-treatment and exercise. And guys, please realize none of this is a prescription for you personally. If you are having shoulder pain, you can reach out to me directly, your go-to healthcare provider. If you're having pain, don't just dive into these and push through that pain. That may not be the best route for you to go. Okay. So we're really going to talk about 3 movements today, 3 exercises that I always look at when people come into the clinic with shoulder pain. So I think these provide a good assessment on where somebody's at control-wise around the shoulder complex. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the first movement here. We usually refer to this as a lower traps activation. Now, I'm demonstrating a couple different versions of this. If you cannot reasonably get good activation and squeeze your shoulder blades together, you should not add in that arm movement, because what typically happens is once we add in the arm movement, the scapular movement really tanks. So we've got to master that first before we can add in like an IYT or anything like that. Okay. So if you can't get the squeeze, what's preventing you from getting it? Is it lack of activation of the traps? Are you so tight through your pecs that you can't even get there? If that's the case, maybe you do a doorway stretch or foam roller pec stretch. There's a lot of options there. Maybe you just need a chest opener and then you can get in there and activate the traps. Sometimes treatment is necessary to open the door where somebody can even do this. Even though it looks super simple, that can be the case. And I'm not going to go way into the self-treatment stuff on this episode, but I think you'll start to see kind of an overarching theme for how I think about things. And if you're going to address an area, you need to go at it in multiple different ways. So massage or trigger point release, like lacrosse ball if you're doing it yourself, therapy gun, foam roller, massage therapist, PT, whatever it might be. And that's if a muscle is so tight that you can't even use it, that may be what you need first. Following that pressure, massage, or whatever with some light stretching, definitely warranted. And then the third piece of that is active use, active range of motion, retraining muscles. And sometimes that is really hard if you haven't done the other things first. That may seem kind of vague, but if you guys have questions about what I mean with that, shoot me a message. We'll talk it out. Okay, so that's lower traps activation. The next one here is a scap push-up, scap plus, serratus activation, 100 different names. But that is the goal with a movement like this. And there's tons of progressions and regressions if this version isn't right for you. Sometimes people have pain because there's some compression that can happen, biceps tendon or super tendon, whatever. So this may not be the best starting point, but I do like this because you get some weight bearing through your shoulders. So yeah, it's a serratus exercise, but you also get some good cuff activation with this as well. So pay attention to the positioning here. Elbows are not directly under shoulders. They're slightly out in front, and that's in part to keep you from overusing or using your triceps. We don't want this to be a triceps exercise. So having the elbows out in front of the shoulders a little bit and being mindful to drive through your elbows rather than your wrists, that will help you keep triceps out of the equation and actually use your serratus. Okay. The other thing to think about, so it's easy to kick on all your abdominals, and that will lift you away from the table or the floor, whatever you're laying on as well. But again, you want to stay relaxed through there so you can be sure that the muscle that's causing the movement is actually the serratus. So you need to be relaxed through your core. And I don't know if you can quite tell in the video, but my hips are down on the table. I'm not planked up or anything like that. Those are some progressions, but not a good starting point. Okay. So the way this should feel, you should be able to come all the way down to the bottom of the movement, and your shoulder blades are going to be almost in the same position as the previous exercise. Although that one's active, you should be able to accomplish the same position passively, and that is the bottom of this movement. You can almost hang on your shoulder blades there, and that gives you good input, some good feedback, so that you know where you are in space. That's a big part of these exercises. A lot of these are more brain exercises than they are muscle exercises. We got to learn how to do these movements. Okay. So that's the bottom of the movement. Your shoulder blades are going to come together. And then again, driving through your elbows, shoulder blades are going to wrap forward around your rib cage. And at the top, you want to tuck, kind of retract your chin. And that will give you a bit of a feeling of pressure in the lower neck, upper back. And that's perfect. And again, stay relaxed through the core. Be confident that you're actually using your serratus anterior to get this movement. And I usually have people hold for about 2 seconds at the top to make sure they get there, know what it feels like, and then also hang for about 2 seconds at the bottom. So you don't want to just bang these out. You're trying to create new motor patterns. So you've got to be deliberate with your movement, slow and controlled. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next exercise. Super simple, so it would seem. Side lying external rotation. Everybody who's ever gone to a PT clinic with shoulder pain has done this exercise. Like the others, we're getting super specific on the position of the movement, because if you don't, you can probably get this movement done without using your rotator cuff at all. So why even take the time to do it if you're not going to use your rotator cuff? You can use your posterior delt. You can use weight shifting to make it appear that you're doing the movement. So the positioning is absolutely crucial for this. So laying on your side, you've got to be tipped forward, but at the same time, squeeze that shoulder blade back. So it can be really helpful to do the other two exercises before you even try this one. Gives you a little bit of feedback on where your shoulder blade is in space. So body forward, shoulder blade squeezed back. Your elbows got to stay at the same angle, ideally 90 degrees. Your wrist needs to stay neutral. If we flake on any or all of these things, that's how we can avoid using our rotator cuff. But again, why even do it? So with this positioning done well, you can move a small amount of weight against gravity for a good arc of motion, and actually use your rotator cuff when you do that movement. That's the goal here. So we're talking like 1, 2, maybe 3 pounds, low load, high rep. If you pick up an 8 and you can do it, great. But you may be using a lot of other muscles besides what you're trying to isolate with the movement. So that's the point. Low load, high rep. You'll get tired, believe me. All right, so we're going to leave it there for today. 3 exercises that are kind of your groundwork for anything else you might want to do for shoulder strengthening or rehab. Again, if you guys got any questions, you can reach out, direct message on Instagram, and we'll talk it out. But thanks for watching. Have a good day, guys.